Last year at the conference, there was a lot of discussion about natural gas and shale and this new abundance of natural gas we have. This year, really, the topic turns to how do we use it all, and some of the sharp elbows come out. So let's start off and talk about something that Dominion's interested in, which is exporting natural gas. You have had an import facility in Maryland on Chesapeake Bay for years, and now you put in applications to export from it. First of all, explain to the audience, what's the economic case? Why would you want to export gas from the United States?
Well, you put it in a broader context. We right now are producing a little bit less gas than we use across the country. With the balance comes imports from Canada largely, right, or through like a facility we have in the Chesapeake Bay. All the prognosticators say, EIA and others say that those lines will cross in 10 years, whenever it is, 10 years, some say 15 years, some say 20 years, whatever. And we'll be producing significantly more gas than we use, even with the increase in electric generation coming from natural gas. So we got to do something with it to help make sure that it's sustained and the production is sustained in sending drillers. Exporting is one of those things to do. I don't believe there's going to be a lot of export facilities built. They're very expensive.
How many do you think ultimately will be built?
I think they're up to 23 now in permits.
That have been proposed, yeah. Yep.
But it reminds me of when import facilities were being looked at. There were almost 20 announced, and I think 4 built.
You think that's a reasonable number for export facilities?
Maybe 5 or 6 or 7. I would think ours would probably be the only one on the east coast of the United States.
Okay, and the rest along the Gulf Coast?
Gulf Coast.
But the economics are very compelling. The natural gas right now is just a little shy of $4 per 1,000 cubic feet in the United States. If you can get it over to Japan, you can get $16, $18 for it, line to price. So the economics are very compelling to try to export it.
Yeah, people should think about it. This is going to be order of magnitude right, the numbers. So if you buy it for about 4, it's going to cost you around 3 to liquefy it, maybe another 3 to ship it. So there you're at 10, and then you got to regasify it. That's going to cost another $1,
sure.
$2. So you're looking $11, $12 gas delivered in the country, or once it's regasified. So it's not like you can have a lot of this is one of the arguments I find most frustrating, that somehow we're going to double, triple, quadruple the price of natural gas because we're exporting some.
Okay.
There's natural brakes on it. From the cost of liquefaction, transportation, regasification.
Isn't there an argument to be made that with all this gas we have, if you make sure or you somehow create a structure so it goes into manufacturing, there'll be more economic uplift. You still have the economic benefit from drilling the wells and putting in the pipes, but you'd also then have permanent jobs creating fertilizer and steel and petrochemicals. Wouldn't that be a better deal for the United States to grow the economy, to keep that gas here at home?
Well, you can make that argument about almost anything we export. I've seen some talk about exporting wheat. Wouldn't we be better off if we just kept all of our wheat here in the United States? I mean, nobody would argue that, or maybe somebody would. Not very many people would, and I don't think they'd get much of an ear for it, and I don't think the argument that we should pick out one thing that we're not going to allow exporting, at least a lot of unintended consequences. In the end of the Carter administration, there were some gas shortages. Congress passed a law, it's called the Fuel Use Act, very boring, but it prohibited any new power plant from burning natural gas, or any industrial boiler from building natural gas. And what was the result?
It was trying to conserve gas because
there were shortages, and they wanted to make sure protect homeowners, and all the right motives, right intentions, unintended consequences. Lots of coal-fired power plants were built.
Something like, I remember reading something like 60% of the current coal fleet was built during that period, about a 5 or 6 year period when that law was in effect.
It's the utilities, our companies we had to make sure the lights come on. So we had to build power plants. They picked out one thing for what they thought was a good reason, many unintended consequences. Nobody knows what would happen if you said, we're just going to stop the export of natural gas and see what happens.